Hey guys, I'm going to point out a couple of things I think are really, really cool. So one of them is this concept. When we're looking at image generation, in some cases you're looking for realism, and it's kind of hard to get exactly what you're looking for sometimes, but you can do it. So these are, new residential roofing tiles. It's just a matter of being specific. And terms like photorealism can be used to create a better sort of image. In this case, I'm going to say new residential roofing charcoal tiles. And then it gives me charcoal tiles. It's like, woo, it's almost giving me charcoal shape, right? So I almost need to specify the color rather than the shape if I want to do something different, but that's okay. I mean, this is perfectly fine. It's just a question of dialing in what I'm looking for. Well, there are other cases too. And we were saying, what about things like accidents? And what about things like alcohol and drug rehab? Well, a really good point that came out was this. Do we really want to show gory images? No. We don't want to show accidents with people lying hurt necessarily, right? If we're doing it right, we can pull that off. But the real point is you can also do things like digital art in some cases and get the right effect. You don't want to show a worker that fell off a ladder and they're lying in a pool of their own blood with parts of their bones sticking out through their leg, through their pants leg, right? Ooh, nobody wants to say, and it doesn't feel like you if it's that real about someone else. Your issue isn't exactly that. So in a case like that, we want to depict somebody else's situation without exactly going for photorealism. So I'm going to show you what digital art kind of does in some of these cases, because again, it's a matter of tweaking it in, but this is pretty cool. So worker falling off ladder inside warehouse, okay? And that's where you get this idea of somebody falling off a ladder inside a warehouse. Some of these images are better than others, and most of these I don't really like. I'd have to doctor that up to get the kind of thing I'm looking for, but you get the idea. It is general purpose, and so it fits what people can project themselves into a lot better, okay? So let's try another one. Injured worker lying on the floor in a warehouse. Okay, and so if we're doing that, in pencil stroke. Again, instead of going for digital art, in this case, we're making it very, very obvious that it's pencil stroke drawing, but it's the kind of thing where you can say, I relate, right? So if you're somebody looking for a lawyer because something like that happened to you. So we can have our page with the different images of the different kinds of work accidents, work-related accidents, or traffic accidents, but it can be done like this. So it's not gory, but it represents something you feel you can fit into. Does that make sense? So the last one I'm going to show you is what about drug addicts? I thought this was interesting. I tried for drug addicts sitting in the corner of a dark room with their arms wrapped around their knees and their head down, something like that. Or I don't know about their head down, but anyway, it's kind of close. And so take a look. We've got the drug addict or the alcohol, somebody, and if you're thinking about it, the person who's going and trying to fit someone into a rehab center and they're actually doing that search is usually not this person. It's usually this person's best friend or parents. Usually it's going to be somebody who can afford it. So usually it is this person's parents, okay? Which led me to another point too. Some guys are saying, do we recognize that in the case of accident, especially if you're talking car accidents, a lot of it has to do with the area being poor, right? So people who are not on their best behavior is part of that equation, right? Somebody drinking and driving. The more accidents come out of the worst behaving areas, that tends to be true. But then also the idea that in a poorer area, what do you also have? You have the roads are not maintenance well enough, often enough, so there's potholes, and potholes cause erratic sudden behavior, and this is the kind of thing that can lead to accidents as well, right? Somebody can be walking across the street, somebody else can be driving, and then the driver jerks because of a pothole, maybe hits the person saying it's your fault, the other guy saying, no, it's the pothole, and who knows, right? But there you go, that's the general concept, right? So that happens in poor areas. But when you're talking about drug and rehabilitation, usually it's a question of whether the parents can afford it. It's harder to get something like that on your insurance. So can the parents afford it? And so now you're talking about a higher income area. So we're absolutely going to be sensitive to that for everybody who's coming in for accident attorneys here, and everyone who's coming in for, well, the kickoff on the other side is the alcohol and drug rehab there, right? So we're going to be absolutely sensitive to that. If we find that when we're looking at the stats, the position you got, right, is perfect for accident attorneys or isn't. If it isn't, then we're going to move you into something that is. Well, perfect. What I mean is a large percentage of accidents, okay? And then if we feel like when we do the stats also in that same area for drug and alcohol rehab, if the numbers aren't great, we're going to put that drug and alcohol rehab position into whatever other county necessary to make that the most influential. Again, we're vested in your runs. We earn the other half of the money. So we want these to work out really well. Your paying us allows us to do the work and find the locations and grow the whole thing and backlink all these to each other. All the stuff that makes this powerful. Okay? But yeah, we're absolutely going to pick wisely the county in each case. All right. Just wanted to make that point clear. Do you know what? That's kind of enough for now. I mean, there's more stuff I can talk about. Oh, I'll talk about one more. This is kind of an interesting one. Somebody said this. Is there a way? Actually, I've heard this from different points of view. Different people said something quite the same way, and that's this. What if we're building these things up and then they kind of level off? Okay? Like, we're not getting any further with the number of sales on a website. Maybe we're doing great, but can we do better? And the answer is, we can do more websites in the same area, right? To grab a greater percentage of the total. That's one way to go. And we'll probably get around to doing things like that, but here's another one. So it's just a question of deciding where to go. Because another one is this. And really the kind of decisions that we'll make will be based on simple math. It's just a question of looking at the numbers. But here's a good one too, because it's equally scalable and it's much faster. And so it's a question of what to do with it. Here's the other idea. What if the websites get flipped? You know, you can flip a website and pick up a lot more. Usually it's like 5 years worth of income. So you would take 5 years times 12 months, like 60 months. So whatever it is that the websites are averaging on a month-by-month basis, and they got to be stable or growing, right? Shouldn't be losing income, should be growing income. But then as it's happening, what you do is take like 3 to 6 months or so of stats, right? And it just depends how long it's been going and what those last few months are like, right? And so our question would be, where does it peak? It's not about 3 or 6 months. It's like 3 or 6 months, it might still be growing. We might even cash you out along the way, we'll see. But where does it peak? And if it peaks, the idea is we can flip it. What's the point of flipping it? You get whatever your cut is, we get whatever our cut is, but then that's faster. So the reason we would flip would be the same reason you would flip. Again, we're vested, we're making the other half of the same money. So if the decision is to flip, that already pays you 10 times out. Minimum. You know, it's a question of what it flips for. But the whole point is, if we can get you cut faster and get ourselves income faster, it's good for both of us. So if you can cycle faster, that's just a point to make. Say you're cycling faster, then the point is you can get more positions for as long as positions are open. So the faster you can cycle, the better you wind up doing, right? There you go. That's just the whole concept there. I mean, it's loose-ended at this stage because it's loose-ended at this stage. But the point I want to make to you is that there's so many options and so many ways to grow this thing. If we made 1,000 websites for accident attorneys around the nation and flipped them all, we wouldn't be coming anywhere near making a dent in the industry, no matter how much money is coming out of that. You could be making $100 million a year and the industry would barely notice. Well, industry would notice, but that's about it. There's room for so much. I hate to say it, but it's so true, right? Alcohol and drug rehab, I don't know what the numbers are yet, but I'm scared to look. We were already finding it painful to look at the numbers for accidents, right? And I'll bet there are more people with alcohol or drug-related issues that need to go into rehab than there are people getting hit by cars or trucks. And yet, those are both very high-end, high-cost industries, right? And so, yeah, it's crazy. It's just wonderful to be able to spread your portfolio across these things. Well, those of you who've been around and you've been buying into stuff that we've done in the past, get a hold of me. I'm working with each of you guys and trying to give you extra leverage too moving forward. And those of you who, I'll give you another one that I can open up. For those of you that want to put a position on layaway, I'm going to just make this idea and see if anyone bites, because it's kind of an interesting idea. Some of you guys are just thinking, I don't know how long you'll take to get it done, but I don't have a lot of money. And the answer is come here. Okay, website-installer.com. Go to super affiliate sites. Okay. And then the idea is this. Get on a subscription. Some guys have asked me. I said yes. So I don't see a problem with that. Let's say you want to get a $1,500 subscription. Okay. And so you hop on one of these things. I wouldn't go that low anyway. You cannot earn until you've paid it all off. Then by the time you've paid it off, then we can build up that area. We'll be earning off whatever area you probably originally chose as your goal. But by the time you're there, we're going to put you in something comparable or higher if we need to. But there are almost certainly going to be comparable options at whatever level you guys came in at. But the reason I want to say this is you can put a position on layaway. So you can make payments. And so by making, say, 2, 3, 4 payments, right? Like if you were doing $500 a month for a $2,000 position, you can make 4 payments. Now, if it's going to take you 4 months, it's going to take you 4 months, and then probably 1 or 2 before we have your new position build up so you can earn from it. So if you do want to make payments, move fast. You know, it's better if you could get it done in like 2 months instead of get it done in 4 or 6, say, you know, that kind of thing. Because whatever it is, if it takes you 2 months, you know, you got to give us 2 more. Like even if everybody making the payment today has already been in for a little while and we're pushing on the stuff in the back end, we're releasing it, Google's going to start indexing it and that's going to work. Put your email for whatever it is, the payment you're making, and then put down accident attorneys like so. And then whatever the county is, whatever the state is, okay? And of course your email, you know, bob@msn.com, okay? So when you subscribe and you're on this, you're on a subscription. So in the end, what we'll have to do is go into the position holders and go through the act of joining, sign up, but don't buy a position once you've done that. Act like you're going to buy one long enough to get into the position holders. But then what we'll do is assign a proper position to you at that point, okay? But I'm doing that because I've had people say, you know, this time of the year, it's hard for me to be able to just pop that kind of cash out, but I don't want to miss out. So what'll happen is, those of you who do hop on the subscription now, and you follow it through, you go straight through to the end, then we will do the doubled up option for you. We'll make sure you get both accident attorneys and drug and alcohol rehab, okay? So all you got to do is be consistent and try to get the thing paid off sooner than later, but it is up to your budget. You know, it's a minimum $1,500, right? So whatever the county is, if you're saying $750 a month and you're aiming for $1,500, that's 2 months, right? If you're saying I want to do better, I found a stronger county in Arizona. It does really, really well, but I want to lock it in now. I want to put my claws into it so nobody else can get it, okay? But I want it right now, and it's you know, it's $2,000 or even $2,100, then just make your payments for $2,000, and then for the last $100, I mean, we'll kill this anyway. The subscription, just tell me, hey Dave, kill the subscription. I got the last $100 for you, and then you'll get that county, whatever the county is. This question mark here, whatever county it was you wanted. Okay. All right. And if you don't know what the county, or if you're just not sure about your county, then let us know. I mean, if that time, by the time we get there to where we can activate you, and you're like, activate me, it's either going to be that county or it's going to be a comparable county. So we'll do the research because, again, we're vested. We earn the other half of the money. So we'll do the research to make sure that it's something we love, right? That's the name of the game. All right, I'm just throwing it out there so that you guys have these options. Okay, I want to make sure to accommodate as many people as can come on board because this stuff is extremely important, and there's so much room for everyone if we're pulling together as a team and doing this, right? So for those of you who've popped in and helped push this, it's becoming very, very real, and I love it. So yeah, just keep helping and get on board if you want. Come in wherever you can come in. And yeah, build it up. All right. I'll talk to you later.